Welcome to True Fear Files, where chilling real-life mysteries unfold. Tonight, we dive deep into one of the most baffling and haunting true crime cases still unresolved after over 3 decades, the disappearance of Tara Calico. A young woman who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only questions, and a haunting photo that would send shockwaves across the nation. On September 20th, 1988, Tara Calico, a bright 19-year-old college student from Belen, New Mexico, went for a routine morning bike ride. But that ride would be the last time anyone saw her alive. What happened to Tara? Was it a random act of violence, or does something far darker lurk behind her disappearance? Join me as we unravel the chilling details of this unsolved case, a mystery that continues to haunt the minds of those who seek the truth. Prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown, where every turn brings more questions than answers. Tara Calico was a woman full of life, energy, and ambition. She was known for her athleticism, spending hours on her bike every day, navigating the scenic roads near her home in Belen, New Mexico. It was a routine she loved, a time to clear her mind, to feel free. But on the morning of September 20th, 1988, that routine was shattered forever. At 9 a.m. that morning, Tara left her family home for what seemed like just another bike ride. The roads she traveled were familiar, quiet, almost serene. Her stepfather had seen her leave, and she was in high spirits, waving goodbye as she pedaled down the same path she had ridden countless times before. But by noon, Tara had not returned. Her mother, Patty, began to worry. It was unusual for Tara to be gone this long without checking in. And as the hours stretched into the afternoon, that worry began to turn to panic. By nightfall, when Tara still hadn't come home, Patty called the police. The search began almost immediately. Tara's bike was found in a parking lot near her usual route, abandoned. A Walkman with a cassette tape inside was discovered close by, but there was no sign of Tara, no footprints, no clues, no indication of where she had gone or who might have taken her. There was no sign of a struggle, no witness to what might have happened. Just a deserted bike, the Walkman, and a road that led nowhere. Despite an immediate search by local authorities, volunteers, and even the community, Tara had simply vanished. Where had Tara gone? What happened to her on that quiet morning ride? It would be a question that haunted her family, the town of Belen, and investigators for years to come. With no solid leads and Tara's disappearance remaining a mystery, local law enforcement was forced to follow every possible angle. The search was widespread, involving not just the police, but concerned neighbors, volunteers, and even Tara's own family. Still, every lead seemed to turn cold, and as the days turned to weeks, the hope of finding Tara alive began to fade. At first, investigators considered the possibility of a random abduction, but with no physical evidence and no witnesses to back this theory up, they couldn't rule out other explanations. Did Tara encounter a stranger during her ride, someone who knew exactly when and where to strike? Or was it possible that someone closer to her was involved in her disappearance? Patty Calico, Tara's mother, refused to believe that her daughter was taken by a stranger. She held on to the hope that Tara might still be out there somewhere, but with each passing day, that hope grew thinner. And as the police continued to investigate, new theories began to emerge, some rational, others darker and more terrifying. One of the most chilling developments came when a local man, who had been a registered sex offender, was brought into question. He was known to have been in the area around the time of Tara's disappearance, but despite a thorough investigation, no physical evidence linked him to the crime, and he was eventually ruled out as a suspect. Some believed the case may have been tied to a local criminal, a figure who had previously been involved in other criminal activities. Others speculated that Tara's disappearance was linked to someone from her personal life, perhaps a love interest gone wrong. But the police were left grasping at straws with no solid leads to follow. And then, months after Tara's disappearance, something startling happened. A clue that would either help solve the case or lead the investigation into even more confusion. A Polaroid photo taken nearly a year later surfaced in a convenience store in Florida. It showed a woman who looked eerily like Tara with a young boy next to her. Was this Tara? Could it be her? And if so, who was the boy? The questions flooded in, and once again the case took a bizarre turn. The photo only deepened the mystery. Was it a crucial breakthrough, or was it just another dead end? No one knew, and with no confirmation, the investigation would be forced to continue down a darker, even more uncertain path. Almost a year after Tara Calico's disappearance, a chilling development surfaced, one that would reignite the investigation and send shockwaves through the entire country. A Polaroid photograph discovered in a convenience store in Florida seemed to show Tara, or someone who looked remarkably like her. The photo, found in a convenience store nearly 1,300 miles away from Belen, raised more questions than answers. The woman in the picture looked strikingly similar to Tara, but could it really be her? The boy beside her appeared frightened, as though he too had been taken, possibly an abducted child. The store clerk who found the photo had no idea who the people were, and there was no explanation as to why it was there. Could this be Tara, held against her will? Or was this an elaborate hoax? The possibility of it being her sent the case into a frenzy. Investigators sent the photo to the FBI, hoping for a concrete lead. Was Tara still alive? And if so, where was she? Experts scrutinized the Polaroid, running it through a variety of methods to determine its authenticity. Was the photo real, or was it fabricated? Could it be a clue, perhaps a desperate cry for help, or simply the work of a cruel hoaxer? As the investigation continued, theories began to swirl. Some believed Tara had been abducted by a stranger, a person who had been stalking her during her rides. Others speculated it could be someone close to Tara, someone who knew her well enough to lure her away, perhaps even for reasons that were personal or even sinister. Theories about the woman in the photo ranged from the possibility of it being Tara to the idea that it might have been an entirely different woman, someone who simply looked like her. But even with the analysis of the photo, no clear answers emerged. Was this just another cruel trick, or a piece of the puzzle that would eventually lead to Tara's fate? Despite all the speculation, the woman in the Polaroid could never be confirmed as Tara. The boy in the photo, who appeared to be in distress, was never identified. But the image lingered in the minds of investigators and the public, a haunting reminder of the mystery that still surrounded Tara's disappearance. The Polaroid photo became the centerpiece of countless theories, yet it ultimately led to more questions than answers. Was it an important breakthrough, or simply a cruel coincidence? The search for Tara Calico would continue, but the truth seemed to remain just out of reach, as elusive as the woman in that photograph. As the months turned into years, the investigation into Tara Calico's disappearance grew more tangled. Without clear leads, authorities had to follow every possible theory, no matter how far-fetched, and a web of suspects began to emerge. What happened to Tara that fateful morning? Was she taken by a stranger? Or was there a more personal connection to her vanishing? Some investigators leaned toward the possibility that Tara had been abducted by a stranger, someone who had been watching her, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Given that Tara was an avid cyclist, it's possible that her routine made her a target for someone with sinister intentions. Among the many theories was the possibility of a predator, a man who may have been stalking Tara during her rides. One such suspect was a man with a history of disturbing behavior, known to frequent the area around the time Tara vanished. Despite his unsettling presence and suspicious actions, investigators could not connect him to her disappearance, and he was eventually cleared of any wrongdoing. But the questions didn't stop there. Some speculated that Tara's disappearance could be connected to someone closer to home, someone in her own circle. Could someone she knew have been involved in her abduction? A friend, a classmate, or even a secret admirer whose affection turned dark? Investigators began to question Tara's acquaintances, trying to uncover any hidden motives. Was there someone who had become obsessed with her? Someone whose feelings for Tara may have crossed into something dangerous? But once again, no concrete evidence emerged. Some theories pointed toward a possible connection to other crimes in the area. At the time of Tara's disappearance, there had been reports of other unsolved cases, including the strange disappearance of Michael Henley, a young boy who went missing around the same time. Could the two cases be linked? Were they the work of the same person, or was it simply a coincidence? While investigators did consider the possibility of a connection between Tara's case and Michael Henley's, no concrete evidence was ever found to suggest the two cases were related. But the similarities were enough to leave some wondering if they were part of a bigger, more terrifying pattern. Despite the multiple suspects and theories, nothing substantial ever came to light. With no DNA, no solid witness statements, and no clear suspects, the investigation began to lose momentum. Theories about local criminals, jealous ex-boyfriends, and even random attackers ran wild, but all of them ended in dead ends. Years passed, and the frustration among law enforcement grew. With no new leads, the search for Tara Calico seemed to fade into the shadows, leaving the family, the community, and the world with more questions than answers. Was Tara the victim of an isolated crime, or had her disappearance been a part of something larger and more terrifying? While the theories continued to pile up, none brought Tara any closer to being found, and for her family, the agony of uncertainty would remain as they waited for a breakthrough that would perhaps never come. 2 decades had passed since Tara Calico's disappearance, and for most, it seemed as though the case had slipped into the realm of forgotten mysteries, one that would never be solved. But in 2008, something happened that would momentarily stir the hopes of many, including Tara's family. In a remote area of New Mexico, far from the bustling town of Belen, a body was discovered. It wasn't much, just bones and decomposed remains lying in a dry ravine. But for those who had followed Tara's case for years, the discovery seemed too significant to ignore. Could this be Tara? Was the mystery about to be solved at last? For many, this was the breakthrough they had longed for. The remains were found not far from where Tara had gone missing, and the timing seemed too coincidental. After so many years of silence, could this finally be the end of the story? Would it bring closure to a family that had suffered in the unknown for far too long? Tara Calico, Tara's mother, had held onto a sliver of hope for all these years. Hope that her daughter would one day be found, that the pain of not knowing would end. But when the body was discovered, she knew that this moment could either bring closure or reopen a wound that would never heal. The body was transported for further examination, and for a brief moment it seemed as though the mystery of Tara Calico's disappearance might finally be coming to an end. The world held its breath, waiting for the results that would either confirm or deny the truth. But after the DNA testing was completed, The results were both heartbreaking and conclusive. The remains found in New Mexico were not Tara Calico. It was a discovery that would shatter the hopes of many, yet it left the case as open and unresolved as it had been for decades. Though this body was not Tara's, it served as a painful reminder that the search for answers was far from over. Despite the discovery, Tara remained missing. And once again, the haunting questions persisted. What had happened to Tara? Where had she gone, and why had no one been able to uncover the truth? Despite the disappointment, the search continued. No one knew how much longer they could keep looking or where the next breakthrough might come from. But one thing remained clear: the case of Tara Calico was far from closed. While the discovery of the body may have momentarily reignited hope, it did little to solve the mystery of Tara's fate. The search for answers was far from over, and the questions surrounding her disappearance would continue to haunt those who had loved her and those who were still determined to uncover the truth. Years have passed since Tara Calico disappeared, but for her mother, Patty, the pain of not knowing never fades. Despite the countless unanswered questions, Patty never gave up hope. She became the face of the fight for justice, speaking to the media, appearing on television shows, and tirelessly searching for answers even when it seemed like there were none to be found. Patty's life became defined by the search for her daughter, and though the years weighed heavily on her, she refused to stop fighting for Tara. For her, every new lead, no matter how small, was a chance to bring her daughter home. Even when it seemed like the trail had gone cold, Patty held on to the hope that someone, somewhere, might know something. Every day, Patty sifts through memories of Tara, searching for something, anything, that could lead her to the truth. A detail in a photograph, a clue from the past, a name that might trigger a breakthrough. For her, time had become both an enemy and a motivator. The search never stopped, and the longing for closure never dulled. Patty's appearances on television and in public forums kept Tara's story alive. She spoke for every parent, every loved one who had suffered the heart-wrenching uncertainty of a missing person. The pain was unbearable, but the fight for justice, for closure, kept her going. Over the years, Patty continued to work closely with investigators, pushing them to dig deeper into every lead, every piece of evidence. The police may have run out of answers, but for Patty, the fight wasn't over. She believed with every fiber of her being that Tara could still be found, that there was someone out there who knew the truth. Patty, now older, still walks the same paths where her daughter was last seen. The landscape of New Mexico remains unchanged, a silent witness to a tragedy that refuses to be forgotten. But as the years go by, the search for Tara becomes less about finding her alive and more about finding peace. Closure. Despite the passage of time, Patty's resolve has never wavered. The search for Tara continues, not just for her, but for the truth, for the answers that have eluded the family for so long. In every interview, in every visit to the police department, in every whisper of a lead that never materialized, Patty holds on to a simple truth. She will never give up on her daughter. Tara's story remains one of the most unsettling mysteries of our time, a story that has haunted her family, the community of Belen, and those who have followed her case for over 3 decades. For Patty Calico, the search for her daughter has become a lifelong quest, driven by love, loss, and the need for closure. And so the question remains, what happened to Tara Calico? Was she taken by someone with sinister intentions, or is the truth far darker than we could ever imagine? Until the mystery is solved, Tara's name will remain in the hearts of those who seek justice, and her story will continue to haunt us all. Tara Calico's disappearance is not just a tragic event for her family, it is a stark reminder of the countless lives that are changed in an instant, of the loved ones who vanish without a trace, leaving behind nothing but heartbreak and unanswered questions. Every year, millions of people around the world are reported missing. While some are eventually found, others, like Tara, remain lost. For their families, the pain of not knowing is unbearable. The grief of wondering what happened, of questioning if their loved ones are still out there, somewhere, alive or no longer among us, is a weight that never fades. Tara's story echoes in the hearts of every parent, every friend, every family member of someone who has vanished. It serves as a reminder of the darkness that can creep into any life and of how quickly the world can change. It is a call for vigilance, for empathy, and for the strength to keep searching for answers, even when the path seems impossible to follow. The case of Tara Calico, like so many others, has sparked awareness, advocacy, and community action. Missing persons organizations have formed, and more people are becoming aware of the risks, the tragedies, and the urgency of each case. Tara's story is a call to action, a plea for the world not to forget those who disappear without a trace. While Tara's case remains unsolved, her story has inspired others to keep searching, to keep speaking out. Families of missing persons, often left in the shadows, now have a voice, thanks to the efforts of countless advocates and the support of the public. Tara's legacy has helped shed light on the importance of bringing attention to every missing person's case, regardless of how long ago it occurred. Tara's case remains open even after all these years. While the answers are still elusive, the search continues. Investigators are not giving up. Theories may evolve, leads may fade, but the pursuit of truth remains constant, because for those left behind, for families like Tara's, closure means everything. Tara Calico's story is a reminder that we cannot forget the missing, no matter how long it takes. For every person who vanishes, there are families who will never stop searching, never stop hoping, and never stop seeking justice. It is a story of grief, of mystery, but also of the resilience of the human spirit. Tara's disappearance is a tragic chapter in a long, unresolved story. But for her family and for all the families who face the same agonizing uncertainty, the search will never end. If you know anything about Tara's case or any missing person's case, speak up. One small piece of information could be the key to unlocking the mystery. Tara Calico's case remains unsolved, a tragic reminder of the lives that are lost and the questions that remain unanswered. But even in the face of such darkness, her story has not been forgotten. It continues to haunt those who seek justice and those who dare to look into the shadows of this world. As we close tonight's story, we are reminded of the many families who continue to search for answers. Tara's story is one of thousands, and while it remains one of the most chilling and unresolved mysteries, it is also a call to remember those who have vanished, to never let their names fade into obscurity. Until the truth is uncovered, Tara's story will continue to echo in the hearts of those who loved her. And in the silence of these empty roads, we are reminded of how fragile life can be, and how important it is to hold on to the hope of finding answers, no matter how long it takes. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you have any information about Tara's case or any missing person's case, please share it. One small clue could be the key to solving a mystery that has haunted us all. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.